welcome to day one of Week Night, Split 2 of the 2020 OPL. I am your host, Nick Boy Richardson, and cover your ears because Dumbledore dies and Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father, and Nick got the hell spoiled out of the Lakers game for him today by someone that he thought was his friend, and now he's choosing to take it out on all of you. I'm joined by my two best friends in the League of Legends scene. It is Rusty and Skimmy, and I'm also joined by Spawn.
The funny thing was, I'm sitting there and I'm really enjoying the fact that the NBA is back. You know, we've had some great AFL games at UFC, but it's not really back until like your main sport is back. And for me, that's always been basketball. So I'm sitting there messaging Nick about what was the first game of live NBA I've watched like since COVID breaks out. We're talking about it together. He just stops responding to me after I say Kawhi Leonard is a great back to the basket player. Because I assume, as a Lakers fan, he's just enraged at the fact that I've just complimented someone not called LeBron James. And then he comes on to, like, you know, the Discord server in a little bit of a huff. And all I said was, for a man whose basketball team just won, you seem to be in a pretty bad mood. And now, all of a sudden, World War III has been started. Lines have been drawn up. The New South Wales and the Victorian border has been closed due to this. There's just a lot going on, chat. That's a little bit overwhelming.
So I had ended up I'd been dragged into a couple of meetings, so I hadn't seen the final quarter of the game. So that literally the first words out of Spawn's mouth are the spoilers. Spawn then continues for the next 20 minutes, acting the victim.
I launched a counter-offensive.
As though somehow he's the one who has been spurned by all this. And also, I would just say, I am very aware of people's aversion to spoilers, except for the top of the show. And so when someone goes to a movie, like if you went to Avengers Endgame and you text me and you're like, I'm sitting down in the movies watching Avengers Endgame, it's about to start. Ooh, there's the Marvel opening titles. 2.5 hours later, I would not even assume that you finished the movie. Something could have happened. I'll send you a text message going, did you see the end of the movie? And then you go, yes. And then I'll go, how insane was it that Captain America turned it out to be Luke Skywalker's father? So we're already off to a rough start. But Rusty, I feel like you had a better week than last week, right?
In what regard, Nick?
You had like results came back. Tests were passed.
After tomorrow, I'm fully qualified. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a big day full of nerves. But results came back. My first thought was like, well, I got told the other day that I have a third hole in my nose, Nick, so it's going well.
Oh, that's right. That part really bad. I was talking about the other results.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to share all the hole-related information, but apparently you're just fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted about it.
We'll go deep on that in Seg 1. Skimmy, save me, because I've made an enemy out of both Spawn and Rusty now.
No, look, I tuned into your show last night. I watched the first hour, saw Vandy come on there. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the vibe. I enjoyed the mood, the manic. I mean, I just got to see what I see every day when I work with you, just on another show. It was awesome.
You look 10 years younger, Nick.
Now or then?
Like, both. I think it's because, like, so now that I've seen you from, like, because you look at me like this, right? We're face to camera. Whereas on the other show, you're kind of like this.
A bit of this.
Yeah, just a little bit of this action going. Yeah. And because you don't have headsets on, so if you could just take your headset off for a second and, like, kind of turn how you... Yeah. Like, chat, he has, like, a really, like, fresh fade going on.
I think it's a brand new haircut, yeah?
Yeah, it's a new haircut, and he's trimmed the facial hair. So you look genuinely like 26. I look like the old dude on the show at the moment.
It's true. And I'm the older one on the show. So that's pretty amazing. And then Mega Scott says, he looks 35 now. Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. Front on, 35. 26, 14, fetus. All right. Speaking of young boys, we've got a lot of them playing League of Legends today. Let's take a look at the schedule of the games we've got coming up and see who's going to be taking on who. It's Chiefs versus Avant Gaming for game number 1. It's Legacy taking on Gravitas for game 2. Direwolves and Mammoth for game 3. And then finally Order versus PGG rounding out game 4. My goodness, there are some good games on today. Rusty, what's our pick? I'm going to you because I think I know the answer, and I just like to hear the moan from the other side of the state.
Yeah, my pick of the day is definitely going to be Legacy vs Gravitas. Watching first place first. No, it's definitely game 4 for me. One BGG is going to be the one to watch here. I think as we're in the home stretch, it goes without saying, 5 games left for every team. Standings mean the most at this point to get as high as you can in playoffs, and both teams are looking for that.
Very true indeed. What you are looking for is you're looking for money. I know you. I've seen into your soul. All you care about is cold, hard NeoSurf voucher cash. And NeoSurf are luckily here to give you that cold, hard cash. They want to give $500 dues away to the winner of our NeoSurf competition, and they also want to put you in our opening titles for the show. All you need to do is record a short video of you joining our opening titles phone calls, DM that video to @OPL on Twitter, and follow NeoSurf Esports on Twitter, and we will pick a winner live on air. That winner will get $500 dues and to be included in the opening titles, and then the runners-up will also get their video included in the titles. They won't replace Spawn, and they'll get $100 each. There are full terms and conditions available at watch.lollysports.com, and we thank NeoSurf for their support. NeoSurf, where you can keep control of your payments in currencies around the world. We're not going around the world today. We're staying here in OS, watching the best League of Legends OS has to offer, and I'm excited. There's a good energy going on today. I'll tell you what. There's like this crackling after all that spoiler talk. I feel like heads are gonna butt today. It's gonna be very exciting. All right. Are we ready for game number 1, gentlemen? What's our pick?
I'm going with Avant Gaming. I think that I'm kind of the opposite to Rusty, because all games matter, especially when Avant are playing, and they were able to take down Direwolves, who I think are in good nick. So I'm a big fan of the Avant Gaming roster right now.
This is exciting. Skimmy.
Yeah, I think I'm jumping on the Avant bandwagon as well. I was really excited by what I saw last week. Tons of montage plays. I want to see them cause an upset and say that our playoff spot it's guaranteed.
Rusty,
as long
what?
as the Chiefs draft a normal comp, I don't see them losing, Nick. I don't see them losing.
I mean, I know absolutely nothing about League of Legends, but I know that I will back the Chiefs if the Chiefs are playing. So I'm going to back the Chiefs. So it's the left-hand side of the screen versus the right-hand side of the screen right here. And Rusty, history tells us the left-hand side, we're going to win this one. All right, it is time for game number 1. It is Chiefs versus Avant, and it is coming up right now after this short break and the Macca's Champ Select.
If they manage to get there, then he'll have some items, but he's staring down 2 extremely fed tanks with armor stacked really high already. Randuin, Stormmail, Righteous Glory all going to be there. Gargoyle, Stoneplate for Ayla, and their tanks at a snowball. Is this their last chance? Oh god.
We'll continue that point in a second, because that is them going now for the 1v3. They're going to teleport in the side as well, because they want to make sure that this man falls on down. We've seen him do crazy things before. They actually exhaust him after the feast is gone. He nearly got the solo kill there onto the Z. Out goes the Tempered Fate, prevents Rare having any kind of influence, so they now chain onto him. Exhaust goes out instantly, looking to try and turn things around. Redemption comes on down, pops them up. Back to the rent stacks, and down go the members of Gravitas. They've paid the ultimate price. They've taken down the Titan of the top lane. They've angered the gods. As he now finds himself a triple kill and tells them why you should ban his Callista.
If you're the Direwolves, you have to posture on the bottom side of Summoner's Rift. If they get soul, it's over. However, at the same time, then they just get inside track on Baron, and you can see they actually started up. And this set is on such a big flank.
He is indeed. Hawkshot OP reveals it. There's the suplex. Well, actually, no, there's the face. We're going to start things off with the knockup comes on through. There's the Scion charging, the slam dunk onto 4. The haymaker onto 3. The damage from an Aphelios. Moonlight Vigil tears them apart. Happy lives. He walks away. He survives. My voice is broken. It's a flawless fight. They wipe the Direwolves because Chippy's once again has been dogged by the boys. He's left at his turret saying, where are my team, for the 2nd time in a row? And at 37 minutes in, forget the soul point, forget the Baron, go for the end, go for the inhibitor, and go for the GG screen. And welcome back to week 9 of the OPL, as it is our very first game of the weekend, and it's myself and Spawn kicking it off with Avant Gaming taking on the Chiefs. If that player of the week is anything to go by, we're looking for a very big performance to come out here from Avant. Both you and I think that it's going to be favour for them. I'm excited to see what they go for. We talk about, creative drafts, and the first thing for me was always going to be a case of Appy and Dragu both playing these heavy engaged supports, the likes of Nautilus and Set. Bear in mind, that Set play he just made, that was his first Set game of the year, and boy, did he make it work.
Yeah, what a Set game it was as well, Skimmy, because he was the catalyst for nearly every play going right or wrong for his team.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing about those clips is just listening to my reactions, my vocal reactions to Appy as he jumps in and out of those team fights. So I'm super excited to see what it can do. Also, funnily enough, Skimmy, Lisa's solo queue has influenced the pick ban so much that he has now got himself the strongest jungler on the patch. He has just been running around on Nunu in solo queue, causing an absolute ruckus, and no one wants to have to deal with a Nunu and Willem combo. So you can see first ban from the Chiefs, just get that out of here. And I'm really excited to see what Lisa can now do on Volibear, because for me, he is in the running, along with Chaz, for the most improved player of this OPL split.
And that's a really awesome point to bring up to start off this game already, because we look at these two head-to-head and you'd think, okay, Croc, with the form he's been back in, he's kind of rediscovered, and we know that if he looks to try and target a lane, he can try and get them ahead and try to utilize the fact that these individual players on the Chiefs are very skilled. They can win those 1v1s and look to try and achieve those solo kills. Then you sort of put the burden back on Avant to try and find that strength elsewhere. Can Chaz pop off? Will he play Control Mage? Will he go Assassin? What will happen in the bottom lane? Can Violet find another strong performance? He's going to go for the Zoe here today. So going to blind that one, expecting something from Claire. We've seen him go to likes of Syndra and Orianna be his top 2 at the moment. Pretty stable in this meta, as we discussed. But yeah, already really excited to see a bit of a variation coming into 10-15 patch.
Yeah, and Syndra is really good into Zoe in the laning phase. Zoe has to land bubbles to have any threat on her, right? But in the side lane, Zoe can start getting a lot of advantages. And also the fact that Syndra is quite slow in these team fights, already going to have a support thrown at her, as well as the Zoe bubbles, as well as a Volibear. I was going to say, there's just kind of no way you play that past the laning phase to a high impact. That leaves Orianna. Now, Zoe's good into Orianna, so we see Claire reach even further back into the champion pool, Skimmy. It is going to be the skill matchup. It's going to be LeBlanc. This is a rougher laning phase, I would say, than the other two we've just mentioned, but in team fights and in the side lane is going to have distinct advantages over the Zoe. If you're a Zoe and there's a LeBlanc in the game, you really have to worry about the flanks. You need to make sure that your Banshee's Veil is going to be rushed as your second item, because otherwise,
Sure.
These LeBlanc players are just so dangerous when they get you in the setup.
And that's exactly what both teams are looking for. We know how aggressive they are in the early game, looking for any small advantage to achieve a Dragon, a Herald, a pick, or a turret collapse as a result. So excited to see them go for the blind mids, but then obviously find success in terms of good side lane targeting and good strength to assist in that. One thing I wanted to touch on was this Kalista. Now, this is the most banned away by the Chiefs. They've not banned it here today. We both know that Ketsuri and Violet like to play it when it is up and available. But when these two teams have played it, they've always paired it with a Nautilus. Now, what we've seen Chiefs go for here is a Fresh and a Bards.
They're about to pick the Nautilus, I think. There's no way Theon's not going to get last pick in this matchup. Also, very interesting that Avant Gaming have banned away 2 junglers, because I think that that is going to be a jungle Jax. You don't blind pick top Jax. Maybe they're trying to, like, just, shoehorn it into that role there, Skimmy. But I think that, Jax jungle does beat Xin Zhao and stuff like that. This is also very interesting. If they don't go Nautilus here, there is no reason for Violet and Appy to not take Nautilus. And I think even though it will be a slightly difficult lane, they will still have genuine kill threat from level 1 through to level, 18, wherever the game ends. Because Kalista Naut is just a terrifying combo to have to deal with.
And we've talked about it, right? The easy to understand combination of the Nautilus jumping in, laying down all the C, see if he's in trouble. He just fates call him away. It's no big trouble. You've got strong engage when you're both focusing the same target. Question is, will they go for it? Are they falling for the trap that potentially Chiefs have laid in front of them? They're going to go for the Rakan instead. Obviously, also strong in the engage and offers a little bit more mobility as well.
And makes a little bit more sense, right? Because I didn't know Appy played all that much Rakan. Rakan is just an out-and-out counter pick to the Braum. There's just nothing Braum can do, right? The mobility is too high. The skill cap of being able to ult him out of his ult is just, it's ridiculous. So I think that that's a much better pick. But in saying that, it depends to what level Appy can play the Rakan pickup, because we've seen him actually play Nautilus to the highest level. He's a great Nautilus. He's actually just a great hook champion player. And we'll see if that continues. This is a matchup that we see a lot globally at the moment, Skimmy. The Kennen into the Sylas top. Sylas should win this matchup. However, now that Kennens take Spellbook at level 6, if you take Ignite, you just have, straight up kill threat on the Sylas in the 1v1. So we've seen that people are willing to roll the dice on this skill, and Papyrus is one of the better Kennens in the comp, and Thean is one of the best Sylases in the comp, so this should be very interesting.
It should be very interesting because going into this one, every time these two teams had met, it had been TM playing Kayle, always looking for the scaling matchup, went into a Maokai, went into his set, both time had his number, struggled at times, especially in that Maokai game, went behind, but still able to find kills was Papyrus. But you come into this one, it's going to be another skill check in that top lane, and we're just going to see a ton of thunder and lightning. It's going to be an AC/DC concept brought here to the OPL.
Certainly could be, Skimmy. That's a really dangerous combo of Volibear Kennen, because just the setup and layering of CCs, Kennen's stun is guaranteed against a melee. He doesn't do enough damage to kill you off it, but Volibear will, certainly. So I look around the map, I think that there is genuine threat in a lot of the Avant lanes. I think that Croc is going to have his work cut out for him. This is a good matchup for Jack's jungle. Spoiler alert, it's played a lot in solo queue when people get given the Volibear. So we'll see exactly how it goes. Counter-Strike going to block out a lot of the things that Volibear wants to get done, but then again, Jungle Jax doesn't farm all that quickly. Does have good neutral control, but does need to go probably a Trinity Force if he wants to have any good, presence in the late game. Otherwise, he's just going to be a beefy tank that's looking to frontline.
How do you put him up in the mix of things, right? Because also we know how strong a Jax in the top lane can be. Do we draw parallels to the likes of the Wukong similarities between top and jungle, and that he needs that first major item like a Trinity Force before he's even a big threat to discuss?
Yeah, I think it depends how Croc wants to play him, right? So if Croc wants to play him heavy invade style, heavy 1v1 style, you'd expect a Sheet to come out relatively early and for that dueling threat to be there. However, if Croc just recognizes that his team has a lot of damage, Sylas, huge damage, LeBlanc and Ashe, great damage as well. I just need to be able to, frontline with this Braum, keep my team nice and safe, utilize my Counter-Strike to zone away a lot of Violet's damage, then he can also just build pure tank, something like the Cinderhulk into maybe even a Randuin's Omen and just play beefy frontliner. So it is a little bit different to Wukong, that I feel like you have more options. Wukong only has the damage route.
Very linear,
but I do think that they do suffer similar fates where they're just so good with farm that they kind of feel underwhelming without the farm, Skimmy.
Yep, I'm going to have to see what the esteemed MVP in Croc can do on this pick here, showcasing a different pick in the jungle to try and keep Lisa at bay. Obviously, the Nunu was denied away in the draft, but he is going to find himself a Volibear, and we know how strong a Volibear can be, especially when showing up to a lane, always going to be forcing flashes. He's going to be using his to great effect to get those stuns. So jumping into the very first game of the day, Chiefs come into this one tied at third with Pentanet.gg, and with Avant Gaming on the outskirts of the playoff spot sitting in 6th. A win is much needed here to keep Mammoth at bay, prevent them really from making a last-ditch run towards those playoffs. Chiefs, it's climbing towards that top 2 and putting the heat on the likes of Order and Legacy.
Certainly is. I don't know whether all much heat can be put upon the Legacy lineup, given the fact that they've won both games. They are 3 games behind Legacy, plus the head-to-head just not going their favor. You're going to have to win at probably all your last 5 games and hope that Legacy drop 2 or 3 of them there, Skimmy, to really be able to take that first spot. But second and third, definitely up for grabs. They don't have head-to-head versus Pentanet. However, if they win here and Order win later, that puts them in a pretty good position to be able to overtake Pentanet this weekend. And then really it's just the boys from Melbourne that they need to catch. Chiefs looking much better in recent weeks. They're on a 4-game win streak, I believe. Has been an up-and-down season for them. And I was going to mention that. A lot of it is off the back end of Croc. And we keep throwing around the fact that he was the MVP last split.
Yeah.
If he's not the MVP this split, Skimmy, which I don't think he is so far, who is? Who do you give it to out of the top teams?
So on Chiefs alone, do we think from a different person? Or are we talking as a grand
I'm talking
scheme,
as a
like
league as a whole. Yeah, on the league as a whole.
Probably throw it to Tapoon. I still think, from what I see of him, he's always a sense of reliability, and they sort of bank a lot of their success around knowing that, yes, there have been times where he's fallen behind, but knowing that you've always got someone that you can trust on a lane that you don't necessarily need to show too many resources to. I think it's definitely one that would need great discussion. One that I'm sure there's multiple factors and multiple different judges out there, be it Twitch analysts or casters alike, that could say, well, I base it on this, that, or the other.
Yeah, I wish we had a segment on it. Like, in fact, like, tweet at me if you have an opinion on it, because
Yeah, for sure.
I am really interested to see who people think should win at this split. Because honestly, I have no idea. I've been watching the whole split like pretty closely, and I think that this split is so damn close, Skimmy. As Croc is in very interesting territory right now. He's going to recall between the Avant Gaming turrets.
I was wondering if he was going to go and do a playbook out of the likes of Singed and go for a little cheeky proxy. He's actually cancelled their recall now, Spawn. Wonder what his game plan is here.
He's gone back for a Scuttle Crab. He's just a madman, Skivvy. That's all that's on his mind. Just wants as many camps as possible. Maybe thought that if Thean could get one more good trade, potentially a dive on the cards, maybe Kennen tries to run back to that brush to recall or something like that, and he'll be able to find a cheeky stop. We've already seen that Paprise has had to use his teleport to get back to lane. Thean going to walk back. But Paprise does have the spellbook, and we spoke about this already, so he definitely wants to be able to change over to Ignite as soon as the level 6 is hit.
Quite curious about 10-15. Obviously a new patch where Unsealed Spellbook was targeted, slightly longer cooldown. Whether or not that's going to really change much as a whole, we'll get to see over this weekend and no doubt on a global level as well.
I think it does for mid laners, from what I've seen, right? Mid laners were starting to take Spellbook a lot, in saying that Chaz still has it, doesn't have something like an Electrocute right now. But I think that it will change for mid laners, but top laners, like, if you can afford to run Spellbook in the top lane, especially as Kennen, right? Because there is an exhaust on the Chiefs lineup, so all that Paprise's job in teamfights is to do is to take Cleanse, have Flash, and flash in, use his ultimate as soon as he gets exhausted, cleanse it, and the Spellbook is just worthwhile off one team fight, because it is so important to be able to get rid of that exhaust throughout these skirmishes. The Avant Gaming lanes so far, Skimmy, are going so terrifically well. They're 600 gold up, just based off a laning phase. Definitely would not expect that based off the pick ban alone.
No, you certainly wouldn't. And I think a lot of this has to be on the bottom lane right now. As you can see, 10 CS up, obviously 10 in the mid as well. And you can make an argument to say that with the amount of attention shown topside where Croc was up to his little cheeky antics, Lisa's been able to find himself a small advantage now. Doesn't look to be the case as it stands, as they're dead even, but that does mean that Lisa has slightly better pathing and getting himself to the first objective of the game.
Also very interesting that Lisa is opting to just solo this. So wanting to build advantages in the lane, not worried about the Jacks coming back down onto the bottom side of the map, given how good their vision is. And he does do it quite safely, Skimmy, but the one thing you always have to worry about is, if someone else finds you while you're on the objective, because you can see he's used all of his mana and all of his other combat resources, but going to get away with that one, scot-free, that's a 600 gold lead, plus objective control at only 6 minutes into the game. Definitely a very good performance so far from the Avant Gaming lineup.
Definitely not a bad start, and definitely something that now sort of puts the onus on their opponents as to, okay, where do you want to sort of pick those fights? When are you keen to sort of utilize priority to gather around, find some moments of success? We've seen teams quite commonly go at the 8-minute mark for those lane flips. If we're looking at lanes that could be targeted or trying to slow them down, the likes of Silas or Kennen, whether or not that's an area they want to abuse, or we want to leave that to the 1v1 where they can both copy-paste the ultimates and have at it. We'll get to see.
You can see right now the big advantage is, despite the fact that there's a 10 CS lead right now for Thean, because Paprise just missed a big wave, he has Kennen ultimate plus Ignite, which at this stage of the game is very, very hard to duel. So what Thean has to be able to do is just hold on until that wave's back in his turret range. He gets to reset it and take the advantageous shot and come back with superior items, because he is farming better, right? Thean is playing the better game right now. However, if one thing goes wrong in this lane, we have seen it explode internationally in the Kennen's favor. I still think it is Silas favored, but Kennen has this one window for the next couple of levels where he has so much kill threat.
It'll be kind of interesting what build he goes for as well. If we're going to have the Predator and Morellos of just straight lockdown in your face, you can't avoid me, and guarantee a team fight success. We know how strong it'll be when they all come together. There's a ton of AoE CC they can throw their way with the likes of the Volibear to follow things up, the Rakan. And if you manage to avoid death, well, hang on a minute. You've got a ton of Ren stacks and potentially a Sleepy Trouble Bubble to deal with as well.
The Chiefs obviously very unhappy with lane states at the moment, Skimmy, because they are going to allow this Kennen to get himself back into the game by pushing this wave into the turret. And then they are going to show very early on that they are going for a lane swap.
Right now, Avant would know. However, all of the top vision has been cleared away. So it's not like the Chiefs right now can just start up the Rift Herald blind. They will have teleport advantage on the end, so if they do fight, it will be a 5v4.
Yeah.
But I feel like right now, if they can just control mid lane here in Avant Gaming, they can actually split quite heavily on the bottom side, maybe look to take away a couple of jungle camps, and get some pressure onto Thien's lane, which will kind of nullify the fact that this should be a free Rift Herald take for the Chiefs right now.
Is the response here from Avant. Freya showing topside. Croc is in the area. Lisa not too far behind. Will that ignite on this can be used to stun and negate the teleport advantage? Will he look for the 1v1 to make it a 4v4 topsides? Croc's going to go in for an invade right now, clear out some vision, and do what they do best of controlling areas of the map to make it more desirable for them.
So that's your two options. You just highlighted them really well, right? Your first option is Kennen looks for a 1v1 and you fight the 4v4. Your other option is, now that you have control of this mid lane wave, go super hard bottom side. You can see there is a wolf camp as well as a Gromp available. You can even some of this gold that you're going to give up by taking away resources off Croc, who is one of the most important players. They've gone with the third, often OPL appropriate option, Skimmy, which is do nothing and lose on both sides of the map, which is really disappointing for Avant because they had a really great start to this game, but now they let the Chiefs back in with that Rift Herald take.
They certainly have, and as you can see from the scoreboard there, as we fast approach the 10-minute mark, the gold is back to where it belongs and back to where it started, more or less, as that 600 gold bonus has well and truly been lost. Will we still see that moment of the Ignite finding its success? That is the question. With the Unsealed Spellbook, as you highlight, you've got so many options available at your disposal. Cleansers, stuns, TPs, barriers. The option to find those 1v1 advantages. Well, there it is. The lightning from one, and the lightning as a response from a second. There goes the stun, but very anticlimactic, wasn't it, Spawn? Very much a case of, I'm going to pop it, you're going to get dropped down low, and then back to farming once more. But hang on a minute, maybe I've spoken too soon. 10 minutes comes on in, and there's a flash from Croc, jumps in, Counter-Strike lands, there's the first blood, but Lisa's in the area. He's got red buff, but he just can't deal with the power and the strength of the bruises from the Chiefs. And they get themselves first blood.
You hate to see it, because this is going to be the turret falling down, most likely. Paprise doesn't have any wards behind, so they're not going to be able to keep Lisa there and look for a play. And instead, they're just going to take all the turret plates, they're going to drop the Herald, they're going to give Thien a huge gold advantage. And what was a really stable map state is now just completely being flipped by the Chiefs. This is why you can't give Croc any windows back into the game, Skimmy. Because what was a 600 gold lead is now a 2,000 gold lead for the Chiefs.
And we know how strong Tien can be when he gets himself ahead. We know how he loves to target those side lanes, find small advantages with a CS window like this. Far ahead. Now you've got a kill. Now you've got extra money from the plates as well. That Silas is going to be quite scary. If he does decide to teleport into a fight, it's going to be pretty convincing as to what the outcome is looking like.
You can see, this is the first time we've seen Avant actively look for a cross map here. However, they are going to run into the same side of the map as the Chiefs, and Lisa could be in some trouble.
It could be. Both mid laners heed the call and jump into the occasion. Out comes the Stormbringer, buys himself a bit of time with the extra HP, but just not tanky enough to survive that damage. There's the arrow! Forced to flash away, hangs on to that cleanse. But Avant goes sniffing, and they get punished again.
And this is looking like a very dangerous game now for Avant Gaming. The Chiefs have full control, 2,100 gold up. What was so promising now that the level 9 mark has been met for the Chiefs solo laners. They definitely are the win conditions of the composition. It's looking very, very much a Chiefs favored game. 3,000 health on this dragon. They're not going to be able to make it there in time, Skimmy. So the Ocean Dragon will fall down. Oh, 92 health.
We've seen crazier things, haven't we, Spawn? We've seen 46 HP Poppy steals with the swing of the hammer. You never quite know what you expect, even when smites are in the area.
Croc really gave me a heart attack there, Skimmy, because if you generate such a good gold lead off the back of a very good play down in the bottom lane, but then you give over this dragon, you give the sole win condition at 24 minutes back to the Avant Gaming members.
Yeah.
Which could have been very, very dangerous. Thien looking to get maybe slightly aggressive. He's maxing out Q on this Silas. which is quite interesting. You saw how much damage that ability did. Generally, on new Silas, you max out the W for the trading patterns, but maybe very aware of how the lane state is going to go against Ken and doesn't want to dive into him due to the ultimate.
Yep, extra damage as opposed to the sustain, and as you can see there, very desirable trading pattern. Buys a fair bit of time, does not fall victim to the gank that was being feigned by Lisa. He's been run rampant around the map trying to find somewhere to influence this one, but it has not been a desirable one. What looks so promising, so good to start off with, and especially with Croc hanging in topside, which someone had to ask and say, what was the thought and feelings behind that one? He's definitely managed to get himself back in a commanding situation. 2 kills to his name, up by 25 in camp clears as well. We're talking about him being an MVP for a reason, and with the form he's found himself in these last 2 weekends, both these teams come into this one back off a 2-0 weekend. It was the question of, could they sustain it? And given the timing of things getting closer and closer to the playoffs, the answer seems to be yes.
And now you see Croc in a situation where he actually has the gold of a solo laner, Skimmy. So we said Jack's jungle, not all that desirable because you don't get the resources and the gold needed to be able to play the champion the way its kit is designed to be played. Well, that's not going to be the case anymore, right? Because when you have a look at him, he is just going to have the resources of a solo laner at this stage of the game. Definitely not the levels, but certainly the gold. However, I do want to point out 1 item spikes for the Avant Gaming carries have been achieved. So if they fight right now, I think they are definitely stronger.
There they do. They jump on through. That's Rakan looking for the stun, looking for the charm, looking for the knock-up, and looking for the denial of any form of outplay that Kitsuri could throw his way. He burnt the heal, but he had no chance to use the flash, and then fall on down in that top turret dive.
And I think just identifying really well that he shouldn't use the flash, because now they go in.
That they do. TM flashing forward aggressively, trying to connect there with a slicing maelstrom, but the match and response is there from Patprize, who actually hangs onto us because he didn't have the flash. Just uses the proto belt, and he gets himself out of harm's way. A trade will now take place as a result as Avant look to take their first turret in the top side of the map, but the Chiefs, based on the fact of zoning away Kennen, can take a second in the bottom side.
Really nice trade there from Lisa in the mid lane as well. Will actually force Claire out for now. Sleepy Trouble Bubble hits, he's dead.
This is lethal. There it is. Out comes the Battle Star, and out goes the Death and Delete. Chaz finds his number. They've been playing fancy fit in the mid lane for a fair bit of time. Salsa lessons were definitely on lockdown there, and finally Chaz finds the mark and gets himself a much-needed solo kill, which can look to try and swing the balance once back into Avant's favour. They're going to use that moment of opportunity to get themselves a Herald, and this could do dividends to try and catch up as to what is now a 2k gold lead against them.
And we talk about games like this in League of Legends so often together, Skimmy, but it's about how can they use their positions of strength? Because you look at where the kills lie on the Avant Gaming lineup. 1 kill for the Zoe, 1 kill for the Callista. They are so strong in that core on the bottom side of the map. Then you have a look at where the Chiefs are strong. Well, 2 turrets have gone to Thean, including the first turret. 2 kills on Croc. He's also shared in those turret goals. So any fight that is around the carries of Avant, they should win. Any fight that is a cross map onto this Kennen should be an absolute landslide for the Chiefs. It's just going to be about how these teams can execute the best kinds of game of League of Legends.
That's what they're posturing for right now. Both junglers have opted for a blue smite, so it's all about making sure that they have nowhere to run or hide. If we've got you in our sights, that's where you're going to stay. We're going to guarantee that kill connects. Both definitely do have enough CC and then burst to follow things up to guarantee a kill to turn it in their favor. 30 seconds on the 3rd Dragon of the game. We're playing for a Cloud Soul, and now that's Claire getting angry. He's getting aggressive. He tries to find a number. A 3-man knock-up, a stun, a combo, a damage chance opportunity as Katsuri throws back the arrow underneath his tier 1 turret in mid lane. And Lisa is locked in place. Flash galore. Avant on the disengage. Running away. Out comes the Counter-Strike. Flashes forward, but they disengage from it as well. He's got 3 members in his side. He just jumps on their heads. He's playing whack-a-mole because he wants to try and take them all on down. Where is the kid and where is he? I can't see it on the map right now, but people are burning and people finally fall on down.
That looked like a Kennen's dream fight there, Skimmy. He had the proto belt, he had the flash. There was no exhaust available, but he didn't use the rank 2 ultimate. The Chiefs looked like they had stacked up, but when the Kennen exited the fight, they just continued to march forward. That will be a big win for the Chiefs. They extend their gold lead. They get themselves the 2nd Dragon of the game. And the coordination seems to be definitely lacking from Avant today.
What an exciting passage of play back from sort of seeing LeBlanc find their moment to jump on in clear, saying, all right, you got my number before, but it's now my time to showcase what I can do. And locking all those members down so low. Flashes being burnt galore. Just take a quick look at the sidebars right now. So many flashes are gone. Only the Cannons remains, as does the Brom, but wasn't a focal point really of that fight. It was all highlighted on the Jax and LeBlanc show to utilize their kit, jump in and finally secure that kill. Ignite was the deal breaker in the end as Rakan trickled on down, but that guarantees themselves the second dragon.
So, Chiefs winning the first major fight. It wasn't by a lot. However, a win is a win, and they get the objective off the back end. You can see Herald now being spawned mid lane. Flashes and Summoner spells are a scarcity on Summoner's Rift right now. However, they will just take the turret and walk away. Big bottom lane is going to be there for the Avant Gaming lineup. They need to stop sharing this golden experience. Get Chaz down bot. Because this is where the Chiefs start to hurt you, Skimmy. If you share resources, you will fall so far behind.
Yeah, you certainly will. And we know how well equipped Chiefs can be to targeting those side lanes and how keen they are to welcome you to those parts of the map to break you apart, because they have this unhuman ability to converge anywhere at any given moment together and say, this is our time to shine. This is how we want to perform, and this is what we're here to do as our job. And as the fight before just showcased there, they're definitely tapping into a sense of that confidence, finding their success, and the triage of deploying their Herald mid lane there from Avant doesn't do much to really swing the gold any closer to what is now becoming a bit of a snowball effect here for the Chiefs.
However, it should give them some good map control. So if you have a look at how the map was sitting before, bottom lane could be pushed so far for the Chiefs that it was becoming increasingly difficult to defend the mid lane turret, because you could see exactly what Claire wanted to do. He just wants to sit into that Raptor pit and throw spells over the wall. As Thean, he's going to dash over this wall.
He's looking for it. He doesn't hit the chains
This is
right
a 2v1.
now. Out goes the GLP. There's Rakan. Here comes Lisa as well. He gets exhausted straight away. That's the Unseen Spellbook coming in clutch right now. Appy with the charm. Looking for the knock-up. 3 members locked in place. The Thunder comes crashing on down. And as he uses the stopwatch, he will expire. Croc's up to the party. In drops Dragku. It's all about frozen lockdown as an arrow connects and bops them on their head as Croc now utilizing that counter-strike. He goes drowsy. He falls asleep. And he falls on down. Lisa finally finds himself the first blood in his name. And with no major objective to contest at this stage of the game, more time for them to gather a little bit more map control spawn.
Certainly is, and just, slow down the pace of the game, especially on Croc. He's already 50 CS up nearly, and he's got himself those couple of levels advantages. So a shutdown on Croc, some gold over to Lisa, some good experience coming across from the kills as well, which is one of the overlooked areas of picking up kills on Summoner's Rift, Skimmy, is the experience difference that you're able to generate. Means that this Volley Bear is going to start clawing his way back into the game. Credit to Avant Gaming for attacking the opposite side of the map to the Baron. It's always a risky move to make after 20 minutes, but they calculated it well, and the Chiefs rotated to the same side, so they're able to pick themselves up a couple of more kills. And any team comp with the Rakan is always dangerous for long-range engages. So I think, Theon maybe a little bit over-aggressive there. Should have known that the Rakan was in the area. However, gold still just sitting at 2,000, Skimmy. It is, a fairly decent gold lead at this stage of the game. You do have to watch out where the Zoe is. But at the same time, this Jax, this Silas, definite problems right now for the Avant Gaming lineup.
They definitely are. I mean, you're looking at a level 12 Jax into a level 10 Volley Bear. It's been that story for the last 10 minutes, as has this 2k buffer that separated these two teams. There is a sense of stability. Maybe not one that Avant want obviously remain that way, but they are definitely finding opportunities to showcase that despite areas of the map not necessarily going their way, they still have the ability to keep you at, at bay, at distance, but definitely not allowing you to find those monumental 5 to 10k gold leads that really blow this game wide open.
But again, Skimmy, someone needs to be on this top wave. Someone needs to be on the bottom lane wave. They're just giving up so much gold at the moment that the Chiefs are saying, yes, okay, we will take the small wins. We will take the little advantages. You can't continue to play League of Legends this way because gold starts to add up. And you can see constant sharing of experience between Chaz and Violet. And if I am Avant and the coaching staff, that is becoming a big cause for concern, because whilst they hold experience leads in the mid lane right now, if they do this for too much longer, that will no longer be the case.
Well, here we go again for a potential second big team fight, a deciding one potentially as we hit the 23-minute mark with another Dragon spawning. Chiefs would love to take this to put themselves on a perspective at Soul Point, but the lanes are pushing against them passively. They will be the ones to attack the Dragon first of all. Will Avant look to make some form of attention attack right now as the Battlestar goes out. The attention goes churning straight through onto Katsuri, who gets locked on down. Once again, a similar story here as the top lane gank. Burns the hill, no chance to use the flash. Yes, they lose the Dragon, but they do manage to prevent an AD carry getting any more fed.
But you just say worth if you're Katsuri. Look at what you burnt. You burnt the flash, you burnt the teleport, you burnt the Rakan ultimate, and all you used was a heal, and you still got the objective. I don't know whether they can take this Dragon, Baron. It's going to be a coin flip of a fight, given the fact that Croc is 2 levels higher. Katsuri's going to make it back for it. So we'll see if Avant Gaming can actually get it done.
This seems like Avant is saying we didn't get enough value from that one, just like you highlighted. We need more, we need to do something, we need to find a moment to showcase what we are all about. Violet, as the fight starts, gets exhausted. Croc looking for a moment, hits the stunner, hits Lisa, he's out of that tenacity OP. Croc forced to flash away, they're chasing on down, but a 1v1 takes place between both the top lane bruisers, and Kennen has fallen on down. The Chiefs smell blood in the water, and they're chasing them down through the jungle, through the lane, and through the river. As Croc finds himself a one-man counter-strike. He was looking for more, but they dash away. Claire comes in! He falls on down! He saw them all so low, sub 20%. He wanted to go for the distortion execute. Burns everything, but he will fall on down.
So it is a 1-for-1. However, the Chiefs taking away all the jungle, farming multiple lanes, bottom lane pushing out, creating a big win right now for the Chiefs Esports Club. This game getting very dangerous for Avant. Next Dragon is going to be Soul Point for the Chiefs. Their carries are about to pick up Death Cap. They've got their Runar's Hurricane, and the Trinity Force is done for Croc. You can see he's just a straight-up monster in these team fights. It is so hard to take him down. Avant, they need to get one of these bubbles onto a key member without burning everything before the team fight even begins.
Feels very much a case of mid laners having a big role in this game. You'd argue that they are an influence potentially even bigger than the junglers in this one as to sort of the levels of success, how much presence we're seeing in these team fights to find that pick, to get members low, to make a fight work in their favor. Highlighting the jungle, it still is the same narrative there, still a 2-level difference, still a 60 CS gap between the two. And the question you raised at the start is what kind of build will we get from this Jax? Well, the Trinity Force has come online. Now we're going to see the start of a Warden's Mail, and he might now be opting into that tanky build as you wanted to see, and just ensure that he has as much durability as those fights go on.
And the reality of the situation is we said he has to choose whether he goes tanky or high damage. And that's not the case this game, Skimmy. The guy's 2-1-2, 180 CS. You know, on par with the carries, given how much jungle gold there is available. And he's been able to go both. He's got himself a Trinity Force. Now, Warden's Mail into Arandua's Omen is only going to mean great things for this Jax. And this game is slowly becoming Chaz versus Croc in terms of, you know, who is going to be able to out-carry the other one. Paprise has been pretty lackluster on this, getting only a couple of assists to his name. No kills just yet. No big flanking, you know, team fight ultimates that I've seen, really. DN's had an okay performance. Katsuri has been caught out before most fights have even started, let's be realistic. So it's about whether Croc can continue to get big and continue to control this now Death Cap Zoe.
Chaz definitely putting up an argument here as to carrying his boys on his back and saying, let's see what we can do. Let's find these moments where we can engage. Yes, Katsuri's been using those arrows, but hasn't been a major influence in these team fights, but they are managing to take him out quite early on. Chaz holding one of the highest KDAs in this league right now. We talked about it from a statistics standpoint, but the team itself, not a real representation of his strength this split. As long as those skill shots continue to get chucked on out, there's a sense of anxiety that the Chiefs are running into.
Arrows landed.
Arrow, Lisa. Oh, he buffers his HP a little bit longer. There's the Stormbringer comes on out. There's the Slice of Maelstrom. Can they turn things around? Paprise locking him in. One's asleep. One's in golden statue form. One's going to come on out. And one's going to deliver the damage. They take him out. Chiefs survive. But there's the Battlestar. Chaz on the flank. The Assassin Prowler. He finds his moments to shine. But just like that, so can Claire. Dashing on forward, takes out Violet, delivers him his first kill, and secures himself a double kill. He finds himself retribution for the previous play, and he's back on the books.
And you can just see how fed the Chiefs' front line is. Croc dives in, takes so long to go down. The end there, right with him. Now with the 3 items for this Silas. He doesn't fall down either. It's quite a tanky build, Skimmy. And I think time has nearly run out on this game. 5,000 gold. Air Soul will be taken. They're going to have themselves maybe one big Baron fight. Take another look at it. You can see the split is there. Pressure in the bottom lane mounting. This arrow will land onto the jungler, and he falls pretty much before the fight even begins. I said this was a better ult from Paprise. Catches 3 members within it. However, used the W way too early. It didn't hit Draku. That means he lives on the back end. The end just running forward. And you can see that Chaz tries his might, just cannot carry these fights. And then Claire on the back end. Just a master at team fighting. Rough early game for Claire, but you have to say at this stage, no mid laner really rivals him in being able to navigate team fights. 4, 2, and 3 on the LeBlanc. Now has himself a death cap, working towards that Banshee's Veil as well.
The battle of mid laners on full display, on full force. But this time, Claire comes up the winner. A big win for the boys of the Chiefs. As you say, that is the Cloud Soul guarantee. That's 30% reduction of those ultimates. And a ton of extra movement speed, which, as we've seen so far, has been very much necessary. A big benefit for them to continue to hunt and run these scared Avant numbers down and out of this game. 5k gold lead is now the favour of Chiefs. They've been locked at 2k for such a long time, but as we fast approach the 30-minute mark with Baron still up and available, they put themselves in a strong lead.
And I feel like this is really the last effort, right? I don't think that they're going to outscale anymore, Skimmy. I think when you have a look at the items that are completed for Violet, this is his best chance to be able to fight Chaz. Has been caught.
Stopwatch. Out comes the Glacial Fissure. The arrow hits them in the middle of that team fight. Lisa jumps in, but it's going to be Paprise that finds one. Brom is gone. There's the Slicing Maelstrom. Lock them down. Violet finds
Look
the
at
second.
Katsuri.
Claire on the flank. Uses the flash. This time Katsuri gets to play the game. This time Katsuri gets to show them what he's all about. The QSS used a fantastic effect. A beautiful purchase based on the fact he went for a Summoner heal choice instead. But a similar outcome. And it's Avant crumble and Paprise forced to run away. But that is the ace, as Claire will not afford him that liberty.
And staggered recalls means that this could be the Baron take as well. You can see that it's going to be, 14 seconds advantage for the Chiefs. They can teleport Thean to the objective if they would like to. This could be big pressure right now for the Chiefs. And Katsuri in that fight just sat there and free hit. No one was anywhere near him, was not on the same screen, and he was just able to mow them down. Too tanky is Croc as well as Thean. The base will be broken for the Chiefs.
There it is, the initial base entry, as the mid turret protecting the inhibitor falls on down. Fast approaching max levels on a lot of these characters, as we're looking at level 16s in all the right places right now. And LeBlanc, Zoe, as well as a Silas. Very real threats that we're seeing. Not used to fantastic effects so far. And Tien showcasing that whilst he can steal your ultimate, he can ensure that he can put himself into disadvantageous situations, bait out your attention, pop the Zonias, and turn the fight around in his way. The CC train that's coming is locking these members of Avant down, and they're not tanky enough to survive the onslaught that's coming their way. And with all those Cloud Dragons, it can continue really to be the story of just ultimates being flung out as much as they do see fit.
Oh, they can throw whenever they want, right? They are in no pressure, given the fact that they're triple Cloud Soul, and they have a lot of cooldown reduction built up on their carries of, missing an ultimate and therefore not being able to team fight. I think itemization is also going to start to become a major factor in this game, Skimmy. You hate to say that it is, but if you have a look at the itemization of the Chiefs, they have built so much magic resistance, and neither of the AP carries have actually afforded themselves the luxury of picking up a third item Void Staff. It's a full item away for the Zoe. It's more than a full item away for this cannon. And I just don't think they have the damage anymore to actually be able to blow up any of the major threats. Claire's got himself a Banshee's Veil, as well as Mercreds. If you have a look at the flip side, you see QSS already picked up the Katsuri, and this Baron's gone.
This Baron will be shredded on down. Hexdrinker was actually just picked up there by Violet. A little bit of MR to try and ensure that a fight could go their way. We know also how good Callista can be for acquiring those Barons, the Ren stacks piling on through. They have done enough at this stage, though, Spawn, to prevent them from going onto that Baron. Put themselves a little bit more time through this mid lane.
I actually don't think the Chiefs wanted it. If you look at how the Chiefs played that fight, they didn't even allow the engagement to come across. The Baron was on about 4,000 health. It definitely could have been bursted down. Instead, they just baited for the teleport. And now they know that Avant actually have to start the objective. And the Chiefs can look to start the fight on their turn.
Paprise is here. He's got the exhaust. The stun connects down. Comes the redemption. In goes the charm. There's Croc. He's in trouble. He's fallen asleep, but he's managing to survive. He managed to disengage out as Draku follows in quick pursuit as well. There's one. There's two. Chiefs carries coming up clutch. They find himself a double. Tien gets in on the mix. Finds himself a flash. And a chance to prevent any casualties from surviving. There's the teleport this time to find good success. It's not a Baron bait. No, this is for back-to-back flawless aces.
And that ought to do it, Skimmy. There are so long on the death timers still. You can see the middle of the Avant Gaming base is in tatters. If the Chiefs want, they can just run this one down mid, pick up the W, and continue their quest to try and close in on Legacy.
That they will indeed. 33 minutes in, they're going to go for the push through mid. Inhibitor falls on down. Now going to be working their way on towards those Nexus turrets and ensuring themselves that GG screen presents them as the respawn times for Avant are just too long at this stage. This will break the freeze, tied at third position. This will put them now at 11 and 6 on the standings. They're going to be challenging Order for that second spot.
And the Chiefs started that game very slowly, Skimmy. However, the ramp up was still there as the latter game hit. And, you know, Katsuru was able to have access to the team fights. They really didn't lose any of the last 4 or 5 team fights, and just showing their continual class. Not as quick as the Chiefs normally play, but pretty dominant nonetheless.
Pretty dominant nonetheless. I mean, there were moments in that game where you thought this is looking a little bit sketchy right now, but I think the fact that Paprise just wasn't able to match what Tien was emitting on the map, be it split pressure, be it teamfight influence, be it access to a backline target to really facilitate Claire to dive in and do what Chaz was trying to achieve there on the Zoe, and as you highlighted as well, as soon as that one item came online for the Ashe, Katsuri actually got to play the game. He wasn't an ultimate bot. He wasn't just banking on the Cloud Souls coming in clutch and acting as his guardian angel. He was actually able to sit, stand, and deliver. And that's a much-needed win there for the Chiefs as we start off week number 9. We ourselves jumped into a quick break, but when we do return, it's going to be Legacy taking on Gravitas.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe, and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online. Preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! It's deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.